to say. Andre Drummond, man. So he opened up a little bit about his time in Detroit, mainly just talking about what it took going from a max player, $100 million player like he was, to a league minimum. He said, I was a $100 million guy. I was pouting. I was upset when I was playing. I went from $100 million to a fucking league minimum, dude. Those are his words. So Andre Drummond, I applaud him for saying this, man. You don't get a lot of honesty with some athletes. There's a lot of athletes that are still out there that will blame everybody else for it not working out except for themselves. A lot of athletes will not take that kind of accountability. Andre Drummond opened up. It was brief, but it was great. He was an all-star. He was a double-double machine. I believe he was the last player to have 100 blocks and 100 steals in the same season. He was on the mountaintop, and then he slid, and it was crazy to see. I never thought it was going to happen. I remember when he turned that corner in Detroit from like his rookie year to second and third year. I thought they had a franchise player. I thought this guy was going to be one of the best centers in the NBA. I think he also made All-NBA third team during his time in Detroit. But where do you think that real growth moment happened for Andre Drummond? Do you think it was in Detroit or another time in his career?
I think getting traded really opened his eyes about the NBA, and it's a business. And just because you're buddies with the owner doesn't mean shit. It really doesn't. We all know the stories of, Gores vetoing not one, but 3 Andre Drummond trades during his time. During Van Gundy's tenure, I should say. Gores really liked Andre Drummond a lot, but I think getting traded to Cleveland was really eye-opening, and I think him getting benched in Cleveland was really eye-opening. And then he's just been signing for league minimums everywhere he's gone. Like, he said, I was a $100 million player, and now I'm a league minimum guy. Yep. I think he finally figured it out that, like, if you're not mentally prepared every night, that 15th man on the bench can out-hustle you and take your spot. And you just because you have a big contract doesn't mean there's a two-way or a G League guy that can't get an opportunity to get your minutes. Like, we all saw DeAndre Ayton get benched by Monty Williams for, the Suns' backup center. I can't think of his name. I know he signed with Houston because he was outperforming. Yeah, he was outperforming them. He was out hustling them. I love this for Andre Drummond opening up about it because I think some players don't really look themselves in the mirror and they think they're nice when they're not. And I also kind of blame his inner circle too.
Yeah, I think. Oh, go on, my bad.
His inner circle, I think that they were just kind of like feeding into his ego, like thinking that he's better than he actually is. And I think that was a really big point in his career while he was here in Detroit because, yes, he was putting up numbers. Yes, he was averaging 18 and 16. But, like, I think he thought he was better than he actually was. And I think that's a big problem why he never really developed more. Like, he didn't really get serious about a three-point shot. Like, he wasn't really practicing three-pointers, during his rookie year or anything like that. He started doing it, like, casually in the summer. But, like, he didn't really take it seriously because he had that money. And I think him getting league minimums, he understands now, like, you know what? I really didn't try. Like, I got that money. I just kind of chilled. And a lot of players do that.
It was there was another part of his game outside of the three-point shooting. Like, the rebounding was always there, but, like, the offensive skill, the footwork, none of that really came to fruition in Detroit. Like, his mind was other places in the offseason. Like, yeah, he did become an all-star in Detroit. It was fun to watch, but I don't know. It felt like there was so much more meat on the bones. It felt like he was given a huge contract way too early because he was a really young player. And I don't know. I feel like if he had gone to a team where there was like more veterans present than there was in Detroit, it kind of feels like sometimes young players get lost in Detroit because there's not that strong structure or that foundation in place already. But I think if Andre Drummond had gone to another team like that, that had that stuff, that had that foundation, that had that structure, who knows how his career would have turned. I think it would have been better than it did. I mean, he showed a lot of flashes. He earned his money. He was an all-star. It was fun to watch, but I don't know, man. It's crazy how quickly it can happen for athletes. And like, you're on top of the world one moment, and now you're signing league minimums. It's crazy. I still think there's a time though for Andre Drummond to get a little redemption in the NBA and become a starter again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not solely blaming him for like kind of his downfall in Detroit. I think management has a lot to do with it too. They never really gave him an elite point guard to grow with. I know we had Brandon Jennings, we had Reggie Jackson, but they never really built a team around him. Like, I think the best team he had was that 2016 roster when they won 44 games.
Yeah.
You know, he if he just focused on setting screens, protecting the rim, grabbing rebounds, I think he would have been great. But, you know, they tried to give him 20 touches like he was Dwight Howard. And you kind of have to blame Stan Van Gundy for that. Try to turning him into something he's not focusing on his strengths. I think he's a good player, but I think, you know, the Pistons always try to get cute and try to reinvent the wheel, and that just wasn't his strength. Even in college, he was good at, you know, catching lobs and blocking shots, and they kind of got away from that.